and gentlemen, we have somebody very, very special here to talk about cyber safety for the leaders of tomorrow. We will be exploring how to protect ideas, data, teams, and entire organizations in an era where the threats are smarter, quicker, and constantly evolving. Guiding us through this critical conversation is none other than Dr. Narayanan Krishnan, PhD and the Chief Technology Officer at Nushkia Technologies, a leader who's been on the front lines of cybersecurity innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together in a massive round of applause.
To be here amongst entrepreneurs, educators, students, dreamers, and doers. I thank the people here at the FUELD for this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic, very close to my heart. I've been working in cybersecurity for the last 34 years, so you can say I'm a veteran in this industry, and I have seen IT environments evolve. But there has not been a time more harsh, more convenient, and more punishing than today, when both the victims and the attackers are always online. "25 years ago, I would say, or maybe 30 years ago, malware was seasonal. You would get a malware just before Christmas, you'll get a malware just before Easter, Eid, Diwali, or whatever. It was very seasonal. And it came with a black screen which said, "Stoned. You have been stoned." I don't know if a lot of you remember this, but this comes from my younger days. So what we want to do is what we must understand before it is too late. Now, malware is omnipresent. It is always on. It is persistent. Think of COVID. The easiest example that you can think when it comes to virus. It was always on. It was omnipresent. And you had multiple variants of it coming time and time again. And today, malware is fast. They run like factories. 6 months ago, I was at a customer's office and we were negotiating from a ransomware dealer. Believe me, our offices are not doing any decent work. They had specific departments to say they had managers. They said, "I have to take permission from my manager to give you discounts. Our support time closes at 6 o'clock. We don't work after 6. Come to us after 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow." Well oiled. Looking at all this, when I was invited to speak at the FUELD conference on cybersecurity for the leaders of tomorrow, I reflected on how profound our digital lives have changed in the last decade or so. The show of hands today proved that we live in a world where the first thing we touch is data, not water, but data. That's all we touch, the very first thing in the morning. Our digital identity wakes up before us. In fact, it never sleeps. It's always on. Someone, somewhere in the world, is looking, posting, or reading from my Instagram or a Twitter account, or can read. I'm not that famous, so I would change that to can read. And because of that, the rules of safety and security have changed. How many of you agree that convenience is the cause of problems? It is the silent gateway. Let me share a perspective that not many people talk about. They rarely start with technology. They always start with convenience. For people who have teenage and elder kids, students take their laptops into their bedroom because it is comfortable. They find it difficult to work in front of their parents or in front of other family members in, say, the living room or somewhere else. I have not seen a single teenage kid or college going kid work in the living room unless that's the only room available in the house. A new employee, and as business owners, you would see this pretty often. A new employee clicks on an email quickly because they want to impress someone that they're responding faster. And SMB owners, how many small and medium business owners here? Small and medium is less than 50 employees. An SMB owner skips a critical update saying, we'll handle that later. There is too much of business pressure now. You get updates onto your phone, Android, iOS, whatever. You get updates. WhatsApp gets updated every few weeks. Those get done. But there are a lot of things that come to my mind when it comes to cybersecurity. But uh, uh, most of it are either out of context from an audience perspective or too loud from a cybersecurity perspective. We saw three different examples. One was a student carrying their laptop into their bedroom. Two was employees clicking on emails quickly. And three, owners or small and medium business owners delaying patch updates on their critical applications or infrastructure. There, right there, is where attackers live and thrive. They don't scale walls anymore. They don't need to. They wait for us to leave a window open. How many of you heard of small and medium businesses being targeted in the last 1 year? Serious numbers. And with the explosion of malware, we are looking at thousands and thousands of malware getting released every day. The explosion of malware, those open windows that we create, they are no longer harmless. Every connected device is a potential entry point. Your phones, your laptops, your tablets, even your wristwatch. Now let us talk about small and medium businesses. Too much into my face. I work with governments. Uh, Recently, I was selected as the National Cybersecurity Advisor for a country in Central Africa. It doesn't pay anything, but the sheer satisfaction you get by changing the way cybersecurity works in an entire country is reward enough. I work with banks, critical infrastructure, oil and gas, mining, you name it. But which segment gets the most number of attacks per dollar is the small and medium business. The smallest targets with the biggest bullseye. Now, for a minute, imagine that you are a hunter. You got a gun in your hand, you're sitting by the lake or on a machan by the forest, and you have to shoot someone down. What would you choose? A bear walking in solitude in the jungle, or hundreds of deers, or hundreds of small birds? Where would your biggest chance of a hit be? That is small and medium businesses for you. Small and medium businesses practically run the entire economy. Now, I'm talking of UAE, where we're talking about 66, 67% of revenue being generated in the small and medium business sector. Travel a bit far, and we're talking of the Central European or the Eastern European countries. This number goes up to 85 to 93%. So, with this kind of contribution to the GDP, every single small and medium business is vital, is important. Why are you targets? Because you're fast, you're effective. You're also agile. A few co founders, a brilliant idea, an innovative idea, a bare bones office, even possibly a co working space, and the SMB is up and running. How many of you work from such kind of setups where, or started from such kind of setups where it didn't take much time? Registration of a company, few weeks, setting up shop, another few weeks. By then you had your technical team, the development team, or whatever in place. If you were into manufacturing, another maybe 6, 7 weeks, and then you are up and running. And in today, with no brick, no mortar establishments, it takes just 3 weeks for an SMB to start. You trust your people. I'm not saying this is bad. Don't take me wrong. But I haven't heard of a single small and medium business running a boot camp on cybersecurity for their new staff till they reach a certain point. Either they have been bitten or they have heard others being bitten. No dedicated cyber teams. Forget cyber teams. Getting a decent IT team is a luxury. I've been a startup founder myself, so I know the pain that we all go to. You have $1 to spend, you're wondering where to spend it, so you get the best bang for that dollar. This makes you attractive as an employee, particularly with the 3 to 8 year old experienced guy. A startup is a great place to learn, a lovely place to work. But unfortunately, for the attackers, for the hackers, very easy to attack. Hackers don't discriminate. For them, it doesn't matter if their malware is going to uh, a larger company, a bank, or to a smaller one. All they want is to automate. So when I meet leaders and they say, oh, we are too small to be attacked, what will they get from us? I say, you're not small, you're just big enough to attack or get attacked, and small enough not to notice it in time. There lies the key. I don't know if there was, you've gone through this video about 10, 12 years ago. There was this video where when you check in bags at the airport, you have taken your due diligence, you've got the chains, you have tied the chains together with a padlock. And there was this video where the guys are opening the suitcase without opening the padlock. All it takes is a ballpoint pen. They insert the ballpoint pen into the zipper area, pry it open, move the entire two sets of chain tags to one side, open the bag, bring it back. All it takes is one ballpoint pen, maybe one piece of candle. Nobody would know that the bag was open. So I was speaking to a few college friends, and they said, I travel with minimal stuff. No electronics, nothing. All I have is some clothes. What will they get from my bag? The real question to ask is, what can they put inside your bag? So I'm trying to open up conversations that you can have with your team to understand the real impact of cybersecurity. As I said, small and medium businesses are just big enough to be exploited and small enough not to notice it till much later. This is disturbing. I want to take a moment to bring some emotional reality into this room. A breached business, however big, however small, loses revenue, it loses reputation, and it possibly loses customers. But a breached person loses confidence, loses mental peace, sometimes relationships, and most often than not, opportunities. Students are particularly vulnerable. One compromised webcam, one inappropriate screen capture, one poorly timed recording, and the student's entire emotional world just collapses. There are structured malware groups which focus on kids worldwide. August, I was invited in the UK to investigate a few cases where um, 18, 19-year-olds were caught selling drugs. They came from well-to-do families. When we did a proper investigation, took us about 2 months or so. When we did that investigation, we realized that some of these were having laptops which had been compromised. Cyber harm is therefore not just financial, it is deeply personal. You don't need a state-sponsored cyber criminal to ruin your day. One moment of inattention, one malicious piece of code in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's all you need. I'll give you 4 quick examples. The first one is about continuous vigilance. I'll try not to use the standard terms of log analysis, whatever. CCTV cameras. People who are new to Dubai will be able to see there is a CCTV camera everywhere. It doesn't intrude, it doesn't interfere, it stays there watching for trouble before trouble becomes damage. That's cyber vigilance for you. The installation of the CCTV camera is pure infrastructure, like railway tracks. What runs on it is more important. There is a bigger ecosystem. The people who monitor, the people who know what needs to be monitored, the people who know what are the indicators of potential trouble. Parents, we keep an eye on our kids, particularly the elder ones. We don't interfere, we don't get into what they're doing, but we keep an eye on what they're doing. I remember as a kid, my mom would be in the kitchen and she would know exactly when I'm getting myself into trouble. And I got myself into trouble a lot. That for you is cyber vigilance. Waiters, the good ones, they don't stand in your face. They come when you need. Not a minute late, not a minute early. They come exactly when you need it. What drives this? Training. They get trained. Similarly, employees should get trained. All these are examples of, oh, there's one more, there is one on radar operators. They don't run around for every blip. They choose which ones to focus on. They're calm, they're observant. These examples, they highlight 4 key attributes. The first one being foresight. The second being planning and design. Third, monitoring. And the fourth is response. These are stuff that we look for in a leader. Which is why I keep saying cybersecurity is not an IT issue. It's a leadership quality. It's not about suspicion. We don't suspect everyone. It is about silent awareness, calm, composed, ready, invisible protection. You don't see them. So we touched upon this briefly, but I will take you through 3 key reasons why students are vulnerable. Unlimited digital access, minimal real world experience, and maximum emotional vulnerability. Most kids, till they turn 40, never confide in their parents if something goes wrong. Their laptop is their classroom, their diary, their entertainment, their career, their entire identity. A compromise here doesn't just steal data, it steals stability and ability. For SMB employees, one careless click can infect the entire department. And we have seen examples of this in the last few months across the world. Scary reminders of what our actions can lead us to. This is why cyber safety is not optional, it's a leadership skill. I'll quickly end this because I want people to walk away from this room not with fear, but with clarity. If you remember nothing from this talk, remember that cyber threats are constant, vigilance must be continuous, and cybersecurity is leadership. These are the four takeaways. You can take a screenshot, you can record something. As long as you do one or all of this, you should be good. Back to you.